Hi, my name is Sister Sandy Wilson, and I am going to show you how to make a pie crust. It's one of the favorite things in our family, pies of any sort, and I know that a lot of people like pies, but they're just too afraid to make them because they are not sure how to do the pie crust. So I've got everything out here. This is more organized than I usually am, but I start with 2 1/4 cups of flour in here. I've also added a teaspoon of salt. So you've got that, and what's very important, 2 things that are really important with making a pie. That is, try not to handle it with the flour. You want to get your hands in there and use it as Play-Doh, but that's not good when you're making a pie. The second thing is ice cold, everything ice cold. So I just got my egg out of the refrigerator, I just barely got my vinegar, and my butter has actually been in the freezer. So you chop up your butter a little bit, just so it doesn't have to work so hard in the food processor. You can hear it crackling. It is frozen solid. So we put that in the food processor. And also, that's a 1/2 cup, 1 stick. Also 1/2 cup of shortening. There are recipes that are all butter. There's recipes that are all shortening. So you just find what you like. I do 1/2 and 1/2. So then we will make all the noise. Not much, but you want to get it all combined. And then you have your, let's do ice water first. So 1/4 cup of ice water. I've got the water and the ice right there so that it'll be very, very cold. And then 1/4 cup. And you add the vinegar to that. Vinegar in a pie crust helps with the gluten process. It makes the crust even more tender. Also, not many know this, it keeps the dough from turning gray. If you do 2 batches and put one next to the other, the one does kind of turn a greenish gray. So not very appetizing. I put an egg. Whoops. And also there's my salt sitting there. That has not been added. We'll have to do that. Again, give that another quick. And I like to, let me grab a knife. This is how I mix up an egg, with a sharp knife. You can break that up. And actually, what you're supposed to do is do it not in the processor. So I will get out a bowl and do it the right way. Can you reach a fork for me? Mm-hmm. Just right there. Sometimes I take the shortcut and do it in the processor, but if you want a flaky, tender crust, you need to do it this way. And you do it a little bit at a time. I get a little impatient and pour it all in. If you do it a little bit at a time, then you don't work it too much. There you go. Get it all in there. That's about it for mixing. So then you scoot everything out of your way. A little flour on. Bring it together. Just a little bit. Then break it in half. You can see everyone's panicking and thinking, that's not dough, that's no good, it's falling apart. But that's how you want it if you want flaky pie crust. So we'll get our rolling pin. A little bit, keep a little bit of dust on there. Turn it over once usually. A little bit of flour. Kind of roll from the center out is the best method. I think that's big enough. Looks like I might have gotten a small one. What I use is what Rachel Ray, don't let anybody see my messy drawer, is what Rachel Ray calls a food mover. So you can get under there. So at this point, if you wanted to, you could fold it in quarters and freeze it. So you can wait till when you're ready to do a pie. This one did seem a little bit smaller, so I'm going to set it aside and do the other one, see if it comes out a little bit bigger, because you want your bigger one on the bottom of your pie dish. But it looks like I may have just gotten a small batch. See how crumbly? That's good. That's all those little chunks of butter in there that are still ice cold. Piece it a little if you think you need to. I'm going to look and see if I've got there a smaller pie pan, because it looks like my batch of dough is a little bit smaller for some reason. So this is when I usually call Gordon in and say, can you slide the pan under for me? Because it will fall apart, and that's okay. You just piece it back together. You don't have to start all over and put it back in a dough ball. You can just leave it just like that. And then your berries or your apples, whatever you're doing, will go in here. And what I like to do is you're supposed to do a tablespoon of butter dotted across the top, but I like to ask Gordon to do it because he puts more like a 1/4 cup of butter dotted across the top. And then the top goes on and you bake it 425 for 15 minutes and then down to 375 until it's done, 30 minutes maybe. Have fun.